Mayor, councillors, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm going to talk about the lack of infrastructure capacity for these zoning changes, the downsides in terms of increased risk of crime, damage to the environment, and a less pleasant environment for tourists, and alternatives that would give us a better bang for our buck when it comes to affordable housing. Building in established neighbourhoods is complicated, drainage is precarious, and current infrastructure is insufficient. There is a report of sewage gushing up to a height of 1 metre following construction of a nearby apartment block. This image shows a non-conforming infill unit that was approved by council and supported by administration, and yet has significant problems with the garage flooding, a problem that has persisted for several years. This is a problem that has its roots in an insufficient storm sewer system. To be fair, administration recognises that we will need significant infrastructure upgrades. The problem is the costs of these, the extent of these, and how they are going to be paid for is unknown. This big increase in density will require larger water and sewer mains. The current utility infrastructure charge is only likely to generate around $1.5 million over the next 10 years, which is a drop in the bucket compared with the nearly $20 million that Council paid this year to rehabilitate only 5 kilometres of water mains. As a report commissioned by the city indicates, the cost of infill where infrastructure is insufficient is very high. Has Council the money to pay for the services this new density will require? Similarly, we're going to need new schools. The province will expect the city to provide the land for these. The cost of this land in established neighbourhoods is going to be very high. Does Council have a funding plan for this? The majority of the BRT system around which this density is planned is neither funded nor in place. BRT routes are very expensive, and there is a risk that we're going to get this density without the supporting infrastructure. We cannot use taxes to pay for this infrastructure. There are already too many calls on the general tax pool, which has resulted in high annual tax increases. Furthermore, apartment and other density qualifies for a 5-year tax break, during which period other taxpayers will pay the cost. The Varsity View Community Association suggests that you postpone a decision on this further increase in density until you know the costs and have developed a funding plan. These zoning changes will come with costs, including the clear-cutting of over 10,000 trees and the loss of habitat for numerous bird species. If you look at the drawings on the right, it is no accident that administration shows the only trees left standing are those on traditional single-family lots. Our neighbourhoods will be less appealing to visitors. Loss of trees will bring loss of health benefits. I'd like to talk about the higher risk of crime. Density brings opportunity and anonymity. Numerous studies, including those specifically of Saskatoon, show that increased density is associated with increased crime. What are the alternatives? Well, we could build greenfield in new neighbourhoods. There would be a lower land cost. Services would be pre-planned and installed and paid for. There would be no risk of unpleasant surprises for neighbours or council. We would get more housing because it's cheaper to build in new neighbourhoods, and also because there'll be no demolition of homes in existing neighbourhoods. Another useful approach would be to incentivise construction on land which is already zoned for higher density but is not being redeveloped. For example, parts of 8th Street would greatly benefit from improved amenities.